Hello, how are you? How are you doing? In this video, I'm going to explain in detail how to solve combined operations that include addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and grouping symbols. Please pay close attention because I'm going to work through two problems and then you'll have to do one as homework. So really, please pay attention. Look, let's start with this one, which is super simple, so you can see how we need to solve it. Operation number 1 is 5 plus 3. Then we have times, and here you can see there's a parenthesis, and inside the parenthesis we have 3 minus 1. When we have parentheses, we will always start by solving what's inside them first. We will always begin this way. So in this case, notice that this 5 I have here, I'm just going to copy it as it is. I'm also going to copy the plus sign for now, as well as the 3 and this parenthesis we have here. Why? Because I just told you that first we have to solve what? That's right. What is inside the parentheses? So I'm going to open the parenthesis and we're going to solve what's right inside here. Here we have 3 minus 1 and that's equal to 2. Done. Once we notice that we no longer have operations inside the parentheses, we can remove them. That is, we can take them away. Why is that? Well, because the function of the parenthesis is to group. Since we no longer have operations inside it, then it's not grouping anything anymore. Therefore, it doesn't make sense for us to keep using it. So in this case, I can rewrite the operation, but now without the parenthesis. So now I just bring down the 5 again. I'll write the plus. Also the 3, also the times. But now look. I'm not going to put the parenthesis anymore, right? I'm only going to write what was left inside it, which was 2. That's it. The operation has now become 5 plus 3 times 2. And here it's important for you to know something. Notice that normally in elementary school, you're taught that operations have to be done, just like we read, from left to right. But that's not entirely correct. The truth is that we have to start by solving the multiplications first and then the additions. In that order, please. First the multiplications and then the additions. So in this case, I'm not going to start by doing the addition. I have to start by doing the multiplication. And right now, you'll see that what I'm doing is correct. You'll see that this calculator, well, any calculator really, will prove me right. I'm also going to do this same exercise with the calculator right now. So you can see that the result I get will have to be the same as the one I got with the calculator, okay? All right, so here I still have to bring down the 5. I still bring down the plus sign, because I'm not going to solve that yet. Right now, what I'm going to do, remember, is multiply. So I have 3 times 2. 3 times 2 equals 6. And now I'm going to solve the addition. 5 plus 6 equals 11. Done. The result of this first exercise, which I told you is the simplest, is 11. Let's circle it here. Done. Let's see. I'm going to share the calculator with you now, so you can see that it has to give me the same answer. It has to give me 11. So, let's see. I'll tell you which button we need to press. The operation was 5 plus 3. Then we had times 3 minus 1, right? So let's enter it. We enter 5. Then next is plus 3. Then over here we had times. And then there was the parenthesis. And inside the parenthesis, we had 3 minus 1. Notice that on this calculator, the parenthesis is right here. So let's press it. And now we enter 3 minus 1. We close the parenthesis and let's hit enter. It should give me 11, right? Let's see if that's true. We hit enter and look. Indeed, the correct answer was 11. So that means what I did was correct. Easy, right? Let's see. Let's go with this one that's a little more complex. Really, the idea is basically the same. It's just that, as you can see, the operation is bigger. But the idea, like I said, is exactly the same. Look, in this case, we have more grouping symbols. Notice that we have braces here. We have these called brackets, and we also have parentheses. When you have these 3, you will always start solving from the inside out. What do I mean by that? Well, we're going to start first with what's in the very center, which in this case are the parentheses. Then we move outward and we'll have to solve the brackets. And at the end, we'll have to solve the braces. Well, whatever is inside each grouping symbol. So look, the first thing then is to solve what's inside the parentheses. Nothing else. Everything else, for now, please leave it as it is. We're just going to bring it down. So I'm going to bring down the 1, I'm going to bring down the minus, and I'm also going to bring down the brace. The 4, the plus, the 2 times 3, the minus, the bracket, the 4, the minus, and I open a parenthesis, and I'm going to stop there. Because now, as we agreed, we're going to solve what's inside the parenthesis. And look, now inside the parenthesis, we have an addition and a division. What do you think? Which one do you think we're going to solve first? A little while ago, I told you that when we had multiplication and addition, we solved the multiplication first. What do you think we're going to solve first now that we have addition and division? Very good. We're going to solve the division first, not the addition. We're always going to leave that until the end, along with subtraction. Okay. So for now, I'm not going to work with this 3. I have to solve the division first, okay? So I bring down this 3, bring down the plus, and we're going to solve the division, which is 10 divided by 2. How much is 10 divided by 2? Very good, it's 5. So let's bring down the 5, close the parenthesis, and now I continue. Close the bracket, 5. So let's bring down the 5, close the parenthesis, and now I continue. Close the bracket here, and close the brace. Put the equals sign. All of this that I just did is just for that small step, but it doesn't matter. The point is that we go little by little. So let's continue. Let's not forget what we wanted to do. To find out what's inside the parenthesis. Inside the parenthesis, we still have an operation. In this case, it's an addition. How much do we have? Well, we have 3 plus 5, and 3 plus 5 is equal to 8. Very good. So once again, we're going to copy everything, and we're only going to solve what's inside the parenthesis, just like we agreed. Right. It has to be 8. So look, I'm writing down everything else for now. And this is where we are. I'll stop here. Notice that I already copied the minus sign. Now I would have to put a parenthesis and inside the parenthesis put 8, which is the result of 3 plus 5. But as I was saying, when we no longer have operations inside a grouping symbol, then we can remove it. That is, it's not necessary to put it again, so I'm not going to put it anymore, since I already know the value of what's inside it, which is 8. So we're just going to write the 8 by itself and not use parentheses anymore. Now then, I close this bracket and also close the brace. There we go. We agreed to work from the inside out, and since we no longer have parentheses, what's the innermost thing we have now? Well, we have the brackets, so we're going to have to solve what's inside the brackets, which in this case is a subtraction. Let me mark it here so we don't forget. Okay, I'll write the equals sign and we'll continue. All right, I'll continue over here. I have plenty of space anyway. Okay, so I'm going to copy this one. I'm also going to copy the minus sign, and we're also going to open the bracket. Sorry, the brace. And we write 4 plus 2 times 3. Let me write it down. 4 plus 2 times 3 minus, and we continue. Notice that inside the bracket we have 4 minus 8. But how much is 4 minus 8? Well, it's minus 4, so I'm still going to put the bracket here and write minus 4. I close the bracket, and I'm going to have to close it. The brace. Notice that in this case, I told you it wouldn't be necessary to put it again, but I kept putting it, since we have a negative sign out here, and we already know that minus times minus is plus. So I just put it so that it can be separated, and you can see that here we have a minus times a minus. So now I'm going to have to solve multiplying the signs. And now we just write the 4 this time without the bracket. Okay. So again, we're going to have to copy. So the 1, the minus, the brace, the 4, then again the plus, the 2 times 3. I know this is pretty tiring, but it's important that we go step by step. Okay, well now here we have minus times, minus is plus, and we bring down the 4. All right, now let's bring down the brace and continue. Now we have to solve what's inside the parentheses, right? And inside the parentheses, you see we have additions and multiplications. And I already told you, when we have additions and multiplication, we solve the multiplications first. So we're only going to solve this multiplication. For now, therefore, we're going to leave everything else the same. So I write 1 minus Open the brace, write 4, add the plus sign, and solve the multiplication, which is 2 times 3. 2 times 3 is 6. I bring down the plus sign, bring down the 4, and bring down the brace. Let's continue here. There's still space. Come on. Now inside the bracket, inside the braces, we only have additions, so we can add now, right? So I have 1 minus, I'm going to open the brace, and we're going to solve the addition. We have 4 plus 6, which is 10, and plus 4, which is 14. So we write 14, and now we're going to close the brace. Notice that again in this case, it doesn't make sense to keep using the brace. So the final operation, well, it still fits here. Let me move this down a little bit, because this one is for homework. Anyway, you're going to do it yourselves right now. And look, now I have more space. So let's continue. I write the equals sign, and now I have 1 minus, with 14 inside the brace, so let's remove the brace. So I end up with 1 minus 14, and, well, finally, 1 minus 14 is negative 13. Remember that here the law of signs doesn't apply, right? That thing about plus times minus equals minus doesn't apply here. Do you know why? No, because we have a subtraction, 1 minus 14, and the law of signs only applies to multiplication and division. Well, here we have, again, 1 minus 14, which gives me minus 13. And this right here is now the result of this exercise. This is all just to solve it, obviously. With practice, you can do it much faster. But if you're just starting with this topic, I do recommend that you don't skip any steps so you don't get lost. I also recommend that whenever you do an exercise, you always check it with your calculator so you can see if you're doing it correctly or not. All right, I'm going to do it on the calculator as well, so you can see how I'm going to use the braces and brackets. Because we haven't seen that yet, right? I'll switch back to the calculator, clear it, and enter the operation I have written here. So we enter 1 minus. And remember that next comes a brace. But the truth is, we can't put a brace on the calculator. Since we can't put a bracket, let's just enter it as is. Just a parenthesis. It's the same thing. The function is exactly the same. So I put a parenthesis. And now we enter the 4. Then comes plus. Then 2 times 3. 2 times 3. Then comes minus. Then we had another parenthesis. Well, in this case, a bracket, but let's put a parenthesis. Then it was 4. Then we had minus, we opened, now a parenthesis. Then 3. Then it was plus. 10 divided by 2. 10 divided by 2. We close the parenthesis, close the bracket, and close the brace. Done. Let's see how much I get. We hit execute, and it's telling me the result is minus 13, which is exactly the same as what I got, right? Look, I promise you, I'll post it again to show I really got minus 13. All right, here I have the exercise, which is the one you have to solve as homework. Please do it, and when you have the answer, put it down here in the comments. I'll be giving a nice big heart to the people who get it right. And well, that's all for today. I hope the video was helpful, and above all, that you enjoyed it. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. See you next time. Take care and behave well. Bye-bye.